We're joined now by the voice of the Toledo Rockets, the radio sideline reporter Mike Robinson, to talk Rockets Zips as they are getting together for the MAC championship game on Saturday at noon. And Mike, Rob, it wasn't that long ago that Toledo and Akron played here in Toledo at the Glass Bowl. Rockets with an easy victory back in mid-October. So tell me, is this game going to be any different come Saturday at noon?
Well, if it calls for John V. Johnson getting over 100 yards receiving, and the same for Terry Swanson rushing the ball, then yes, I think we'll see the same two performances again, but there will be a difference with Cato Nelson at quarterback for Akron. He's definitely a difference maker, and he has been for the past 3 weeks.
Yeah, Cato Nelson has come on, and really he was the major reason why the Zips were able to get past Ohio a couple of weeks ago, allowing Akron to win the East. And Cato Nelson is somebody that the Rockets did not see a few weeks ago, and he presents a very dangerous weapon at quarterback for the Rockets.
And no doubt, the Rockets got to see Thomas Woodson, and you got to saw Kelly as well. Both of those quarterbacks played in that game. They didn't do really well. Woodson had a pretty efficient game, but it wasn't enough. The Rockets did a really good job on the defensive end, holding their running backs to only about 50 yards or so rushing. So this was a really good job by the defense. Cato Nelson brings a little atmosphere to the stadium, a little bit of life, because he can run the ball, he can pass the ball. He's very efficient as well, and he's only a redshirt freshman.
Now, we talked about it earlier in tonight's show. We've got 6 Rockets who made first-team All-MAC offensively. No Rockets made first-team All-MAC defensively, yet this defense has been playing very well the last couple weeks. You go back to Friday morning against Western Michigan in the first half, particularly the first quarter, that Rocket defense was really lights out, really was containing the Broncos' rushing attack, and I think that's been the difference with Toledo the last couple of weeks, has been how good the defense has been.
I mean, and you got to contribute a lot of that to Brian George, the defensive coordinator. He does a really good job, and one thing that he's going to do a good job with is he came from Kent State. So he played against Akron for several years, so he understands that program, and maybe that gave him the advantage of the first boost. But you know what? This is going to be a really good job by this defense. Ola Adaney, he did a really good job, second-team all-conference, all-league, really good football player. But you also got to say guys like Woodley and Tafe, those guys' names weren't mentioned, Mathis. So these guys definitely going to feel some type of way they didn't make second or third team. So these guys are going to pick up their game.
Okay, so we've talked a little about what happens when Akron has the ball. Let's talk about when Toledo has the ball. Obviously, you're looking at Logan Woodside, just named the MAC Offensive Player of the Year. He's got all of his weapons, minus Cody Thompson, but it's been kind of amazing the way that I don't want to say they haven't missed Cody, because certainly they missed Cody, but 100%. Production-wise, they have not missed him, as other guys have stepped up. And we've talked about it the last couple of weeks. The rushing attack has really improved over the second half of the season with Swanson and Seymour. And
one guy that everybody's going to say flew by night, Deontay Johnson. This guy is amazing. First team all-league. He came and did everything that he was supposed to do. Could you imagine this football team with John V. Johnson, the other Johnsons, just the Johnson and Johnson. Let's call them that. Johnson and Johnson and Thompson.
Three sons.
The 3 sons. That would be very good to have all those guys. And then on top of that, you got the coach of the conference on your team. You got Coach Candle, 2 years in, has been doing a phenomenal job as head coach, been with the program for 9 years. So these players understand what his process is and what he means to this program, but more importantly, what these receivers mean to this offense, because this team is very good when they throw the ball. Logan Woodside is lights out, one of the best quarterbacks you'll see all year. And when you let that man touch the football, amazing things happen. But don't forget about Terry Swanson, Seymour, or Art Tompkins, because any of those 3 guys run the football, they're going to do well. And actually, speaking about running the ball, Logan Woodside carried the ball and got about 39 yards versus Akron.
Yeah, well, he had that nice scramble against Western Michigan as well. So showing he can do some stuff with the feet if need be. Now, you mentioned Jason Candle, the MAC Coach of the Year. Rockets are sitting on at 10 wins. They're going to play in the MAC title game. They've got a bowl game coming up. We'll find out the bowl destination coming up this weekend once everything gets sorted out. But that means that Toledo, realistically, could win 12 games this season. Not only 9 times have the Rockets won 10 games or more, you're looking at potentially a 12-win season for UT.
And if that happens, this is huge. I mean, and I know the Rocket faithful is going to be sitting back like holding on. Hopefully Jason Candle's not getting that call from Tennessee. No one's answering it, no way. But anyway, he's a very good coach. He's done a really good job with the program. But this football team believes in the process. They believe in and understand what University of Toledo means to them as just student athletes. You got 13 students who are graduating and already have their degree that's playing football. So these kids are dedicated to the program, but also dedicated to their academics. This is just awesome for this whole program right now in Toledo and the city.
You know, Rockets 1998 was the last time UT won the West outright. They did so this year. We've already talked about 2004, the last time they played in the MAC title game. Now, that game was played at Ford Field. Akron does have a little history of playing in Ford Field as well.
Yeah, in 2005, they had the barn burner when they beat Northern Illinois by 1 point. This team won their only game at that Ford Field. So they're 1-0 when it comes to Ford Field and MAC championship games. The Rockets, unfortunately, aren't 1-0 in that game. I mean, actually, they are 1-0, but they're 2-3 in title games. So you got to really see what's going to happen here. It's going to be a lot of excitement. But for Akron, this is a football team that's just kind of came by night. Beating the team that beat the Rockets in the OU Bobcats was a very good team coached by Frank Solich. But you got to understand, the Rockets are going to come out here and dominate defensively. That is going to be the key for this game, in my opinion.
And I think something else to keep an eye on, Toledo has been so good in the second half. Offensively, third quarters, they're blowing the doors off of teams. Is this an Akron team that if they get the lead can sit out the clock and bleed the clock a little bit?
I don't think they'll be able to get the lead and be able to sit like that. If you get the lead on Rockets, you better hold on because this is going to be a game in a dome. I'm talking about Logan Woodside is going to have opportunity to sit back here in the pocket and not have to worry about a breeze. Literally, wind going any way, this way. He's going to be able to throw the football, make good passes, and look like a very good standout like he did all season. And what the good part about it is for Akron, once they get the ball, Cato Nelson's a young guy. He's a young football player, so once he gets on the field, he does a lot of good things, but at the same time, he's going to make mistakes. And so he's got to limit mistakes, but this Rocket defense is so good, they're going to force him into mistakes that they've been doing all year.
All right, thank you very much, Mike Robinson. Akron-Toledo, noon kickoff in Detroit. Of course, we'll have plenty of coverage for that game coming up on Saturday right here on Sports Nightly.